On my first trip to the spirit side, Albert took me to a beautiful white city called Aglaia. We entered the city through its main entrance portal and strolled down the main boulevard. The streets were swarming with souls dressed in colorful garments from many different countries and eras on Earth, and I felt like I'd been dropped into the middle of a costume ball. Albert explained that souls can appear to others in any form they choose, and often they will appear in the clothing they enjoyed wearing from one of their lifetimes on Earth, or they can just appear as a globe of light. But no matter what appearance souls choose to display to others, we can always recognize them because they each have a unique energy signature. Eventually we came to a majestic building with pillars lining the front, which Albert called the Hall of Wisdom, where we entered a large circular chamber with a high dome ceiling. In the middle of a room was a table in the shape of a horseshoe with 11 regal souls seated behind it, all with snow white hair and smooth, unwrinkled skin. Albert told me this group was called the Council of Wise Ones, a group of very wise and advanced souls whose job it was to oversee all the incarnations on Earth. The chair of the council, Sophia, had a message for me to convey to all humans. She said that humanity was at a crucial crossroads. We have progressed a lot since the early days, but our emotional and spiritual intelligence has not kept pace with our technological achievements. She said we let our negative emotions, like fear, anger, hate, and greed, rule too much of our lives, and this results in violence and conflict. She noted that humans have weapons of mass destruction that could destroy all life on the planet, and we must work hard to avoid destroying our civilization like some of the other advanced civilizations in our history, such as Atlantis and Lemuria, and several others we have not yet even discovered. Humans must strive to discard their negative emotions and embrace love, which will enable them to expand their consciousness and raise their vibrations so they can ascend to Earth in a higher dimension, also known as the New Earth. She told me I was one of their messengers, and Albert would take me on several astral trips so I could write about his revelations in my books. On one of my trips, Albert took me to a cavern under the North Pole, where I had a conversation with Gaia, the consciousness of Mother Earth. Gaia is the life force of our beautiful planet, the sum total of all rivers, lakes, oceans, rocks, and deserts that make up the planet, which is known as the third rock from the sun. Gaia is fiercely protected of her flora and fauna, and is very distressed at the abuse that humans inflict on Mother Earth and all of her creatures. She voiced her dismay at the way humans dump their garbage into her rivers and oceans, spill toxic chemicals onto her soil, and poison her atmosphere with noxious fumes. Gaia cannot understand why humans are so destructive to their environment, which is detrimental to their health and is often disastrous to her other creatures. She advised that she was trying to raise her vibrations so she could rise up to a higher dimension, abundant with love and compassion, but the negativity of humans was holding her back. Gaia says she speaks to humans every day through the sounds of nature, the rustle of leaves in the breeze, the babbling of a brook in the forest, the crashing of the surf on a rocky beach, but most humans do not hear her message because they are too busy chasing money and power. She sincerely hoped that humans will curtail their abuse and learn to live in peaceful harmony with Mother Earth and the creatures who share our planet, so we can all ascend to enjoy the love and splendor of a higher dimension. As Albert left the cavern, I expressed my surprise that our planet had a consciousness. Albert told me that Gaia has many surprises up her sleeve, and he agreed to show me a few of her secrets. To make his point, Albert next took me to a forest in the Pacific Northwest of America, where he introduced me to one of Earth's fabled creatures, a Sasquatch named Xana. She was around 9 feet tall, with an ape-like head and a muscular body covered in dark brown hair. Xana told me that her species originated in Africa eons ago, when a now extinct primate was inseminated with the sperm from a humanoid ET. The Sasquatch have secretly coexisted for centuries with humans on all the continents except Antarctica, and have been known by many different names, such as Bigfoot, Yeti, and the Abominable Snowman. They've been very careful to avoid contact with humans because they view us to be violent and aggressive. And they feared that if they made contact with humans, they would be poked and prodded in our labs or displayed as circus freaks. I learned that Xana and her kin are sensitive and intelligent beings who communicate by telepathy and live in harmony with Mother Earth and all her creatures. They have an animal-sensitive radar that allows them to detect humans from several miles away, which allows them to avoid detection. They have rejected developing technology in favor of living close to nature. Her parting wish was for humans to stop their violence and aggression so they could live in peaceful coexistence with the Sasquatch. Well, I was deeply touched by the predicament of Xana and her race, who were forced to hide in underground caves to escape human contact. I hope that someday they would feel comfortable living openly among us. Well, as we left the forest where I'd met Xana, I asked Albert to explain the difference between a Bigfoot and a human. Albert said, "Oh, that's easy. One has thick matted hair and smells awful, and the other has big feet." So much for trying to get a straight answer out of Albert. But when Albert got back on track, I found out that he was not finished with his surprises, as he led me across the Atlantic to the green countryside of Ireland. In a secluded meadow, Albert introduced me to one of the fabled little people of the Emerald Isle, a fairy named Brina. She was a beautiful little person, about 3 feet tall, who looked like a tiny, perfect China doll. Brina told me that fairies had once roamed freely in Ireland, living a peaceful and harmonious existence with nature. But they had been forced to hide in underground cities after humans arrived on the island. At first they thought that humans were just larger versions of themselves, and they welcomed us with open arms. But they soon found out that humans were a violent and belligerent race who had to be avoided at all costs. And so they've been hiding in underground cities ever since, spotted by humans only on rare occasions. They are afraid of humans, but they won't use violence to get rid of us because of their peace-loving nature. Like the Sasquatch, they hope that one day, when humans finally see the light, they will be able to come out of hiding and once again frolic in the sunlight. And then to demonstrate that the universe is full of surprises, Albert took me on a trip to a planet many light years from Earth. It was a beautiful water planet called Proteus, which looked much like Earth, except it had no land masses. We dropped down through the clouds and submerged into the clear blue waters, where the plants and sea life reminded me of life beneath the oceans of Earth. Albert led me towards a large coral reef, where we met with 2 creatures that looked like a humpback whale and a dolphin. These creatures tell me they look familiar because most of the sea life on Earth had been seeded from life on Proteus, with the help of the advanced ET races in the galaxy. They told me they kept in telepathic contact with the dolphins and whales on Earth, and they did not like what they heard. They asserted that the dolphins and whales on Earth are highly intelligent beings who want to live in harmony with all the creatures on their planet, including humans, and they cannot understand why humans continue to abuse them without justification. I promised to take their message back to my fellow humans on Earth. And then to reinforce the message I'd been given by the cetaceans on Proteus, Albert took me back to Earth